Everybody, JD, how are you?
What's up? I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good. I can't believe the weekend is over already.
Always goes too fast, man.
It is unbelievable how quick this weekend went. But we'll have Cooper coming on in just a couple of moments. But we figure we just get the show started right away, so it's not too much of a late night for you guys. He'll be joining us shortly. But yeah, we're just coming off the WWE Backlash, the greatest wrestling match ever, uh, which we're gonna get into later.
Yeah.
Pretty decent show. I would say one of the better Backlash pay-per-views I've seen in a few years. I had very low expectations of this pay-per-view, which is a good thing because I enjoyed this show. Because WWE exceeded my pay-per-view expectations this week for sure. But Jay, before we run down the whole list of the results tonight, what did you think of the show?
I thought overall it was a pretty decent show. I mean, there were parts that were better than others. But as you said, for a non Big Four pay-per-view, especially as a Backlash, it's been one of their better shows. So, I think they're starting to learn of what works and what doesn't work. But again, there were some things I didn't really like. I don't like the piped in audience when there's only 15 people there. But, they have to do
We'll
what they
get
have to
to
do.
that. We'll get to that. I noticed that it was a shortened pay-per-view once again, which is a good thing. It wasn't longer; it was easier to take in, and I think this is the formula they're gonna go with at least throughout the COVID era, with the exception of SummerSlam. That could be 4 hours. Who knows? A little too far from that. But lately their shows have been averaging between 2.5 and 3 hours. Their pay per views have been a little bit easier to take in. Tonight it was fairly easy to take in. Pretty good show, I thought. But let's jump right into it. We had our first match of the night. It was a pre-show. I maybe would have switched this match with maybe the women's tag title match or something. I would have had Apollo versus Andrade as the first match, quite possibly. They delivered a pretty good match for what it was, 10 minutes long. We see Apollo Crews. He gets the win. He got a win. They're not burying him just yet. He defeats Andrade with the toss powerbomb. Jay, did you see this?
I saw highlights of it. Overall, I'm happy Apollo won. I don't want, as I said before, I don't want to see Andrade carry that U.S. title again. I still think Apollo is going to be a bridge champion for somebody else, but it's good to see him still continue his little push that he has going on. And I think with this loss, it might carry that storyline over of Andrade's little stable continuing to break up. So I think that's why they went that route. But yeah, from what I saw of the match, I thought it was a pretty decent match. I don't mind it being on the pre-show because it's doing its job. It's getting you to tune in, because nobody's going to tune in for a match that nobody cares about. So, everybody likes Apollo, right? So we already know he can work. So let's see him on the pre-show. Let's get the early views in.
Now, keep in mind this match, and most of the pay per view was recorded before Paul Heyman got fired.
Right.
So, for as far as this storyline goes, and for some of the other matches that took place tonight, we could see some of these storylines going in a much different direction than we anticipated starting tomorrow.
Yeah, but they still have to. I mean, they can't just I guess they could. It is WWE, but they can't just come on air tomorrow and then it just be over. They have to tie up those loose ends. At least I hope they tie up those loose ends. I want to see where they go with the Andrade stable. I want to see where they go with the Lashley Alana thing. So they have some loose ends that they need to tie up. That I hope they do continue to tie those up.
Oh yeah, there are definitely a couple loose ends and some continuations of feuds that I think we're going to see as a result of some of the matches that we've had tonight. But Yeah, we had pretty good match there. Solid 10 minutes. Set the tone for the night. Um, so the pay-per-view starts off with the women's tag titles. We see the tag champions Sasha and Bailey defending against the Iconics, against also Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. These girls worked pretty hard.
Yeah, they did.
A little rough on one or two spots. I think Alexa totally missed a drop kick she was supposed to hit.
Yeah, it was from what I saw, it
But
was a little
nothing
more than one
major.
or two, but a little sloppy on certain things. But overall, like you said, they worked hard. I don't think Alexa should have gotten the pin on that. I still think one of the Iconics should have taken that pin. But it is what it is.
Yeah. I think we're I'm glad the belt stayed on Sasha and Bailey here. Cooper and I talked about it yesterday and felt that that was probably going to happen, and it did. If you take the belts off Sasha and Bailey this close, I feel like you may be rushing it, but we're not even halfway through June, so you have time to build maybe into another tag match next month where maybe Sasha and Bailey would lose it then. And then you can build for SummerSlam. You got about a good 5 weeks. That's if they're building for SummerSlam. Who knows? They may build it all throughout the summer, and then one of the girls turn on each other. Sasha, Bailey would probably turn on Sasha, I'm thinking. And then that would be our fall program after the turn at SummerSlam. So I'm not too sure which way what the timeline is, but I feel like the turn's happening soon. I would say probably by the beginning of August or right at SummerSlam, and then we got a fall program. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the turn for me has to come sooner. They need to drop those tag titles because I hate that Bailey calls herself Bailey Dose Straps. I think it's ridiculous. I don't think it's catching on at all. It's not getting over. They really need to start pushing that drop of the tag titles, start moving them up. But I like your timeline that you're setting up, within the next 5 weeks or so. That puts a nice little line, a nice little build up for that to happen. Because once they lose that tag title, there's no reason for Sasha to be hanging around Bailey anymore. So as you said, that's the program. That's where it kicks off.
Now, keep in mind, Sasha and Bailey are defending their titles this Wednesday night on NXT. I apologize. I'm not too clear on who the NXT opponents are. I know I watched it and came across it, but I totally forgot. Didn't take note of it. But they are defending their titles Wednesday night on NXT. So it's another opportunity. I expect that we will see more tag matches between Sasha and Bailey than Sasha and Bailey wrestling singles matches from here on out, all the way up until Extreme Rules.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, especially since they're performing at the Performance Center. You might as well include the NXT roster for that. But as you said, I think it's too early for them to drop it, especially down to an NXT tag team.
Joining us, we got Cooper. Cooper, how you doing, man?
There he is.
Sorry, I was recovering from vomiting from watching Drew die on television.
No, you got it. You got it. So let's catch you up. We just talked about Apollo Crews against Andrade, with Crews getting the win.
I got that wrong.
What's that?
I got that wrong.
I have to admit I partially got that wrong too, because it would have not surprised me if Crews was going to get screwed here.
Yep.
So because that's just what WWE's been doing to him for the past couple of years.
Pretty much.
And then we were actually up to we didn't spend much time on that, but we're actually up to the women's tag titles. Sasha Banks and Bailey versus Iconics versus Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. So, what was your opinion on this match? And in your opinion, where do they go from here the next 4 to 8 weeks?
This was the I need to take a piss and get my beer refilled match if I were at the other arena.
Wow.
Yeah, I had no investment in this match whatsoever. And I knew this is when I got right. I knew a retention was coming.
Yes.
They're they're going to use those as the springboard for the Sasha Bailey turn in the feud there. So obviously something's going to happen. Maybe at Extreme Rules next month. What we talked about yesterday, they could drop it on Raw for all intents and purposes, or they could drop it on NXT this week.
Yeah, pretty much almost word for word. Yeah.
So I mean, everything we discussed yesterday could come to fruition and lead to those two facing off at SummerSlam. And I hope we get the classic like we did at Takeover.
I really think it's going to be for SummerSlam or the fall program. Keep in mind, SummerSlam was originally supposed to be in Boston. I absolutely would have been there for sure, as that's like my city away from my city, and it would have been a nice weekend. And I know that Sasha was definitely going to be featured for sure.
Yeah.
And they more than likely, I'm like 99% sure they would have done Sasha versus Bailey at SummerSlam in Boston. But whether the plans changed for SummerSlam or whether they're going to push it out a little longer, who knows? But I think we're going to get it a little sooner than later. Not Extreme Rules, but maybe the turn at Extreme Rules.
Right.
Yeah, I don't see them dropping the tag titles on NXT this week at all. As I was telling Wayne, it's good to incorporate them, especially since everybody's at the PC, so you might as well just do it.
Yeah.
But to have them drop it to an NXT tag team, it doesn't really work.
Yeah, that kind of devalues them losing to the development league, if you will.
Right.
Yeah, I'm being led to believe that it's still going to be between. It could very well be the Iconics.
Mm-hmm.
I hope not. I'd like to see it go back to Nikki and Alexa, to be honest with you.
They're definitely the better tag team for sure.
Well, I mean, this again goes back to the point of how underdeveloped the women's tag division is right now when these are our top three teams.
Right.
Hey, listen, WWE had a lot of opportunity to take a bunch of women from the what was it, the CWC or the Women's Classic, or I don't know.
Well, the Mae Young. Classic. You're thinking of Cruiserweight Classic.
Yeah. So yeah, they had 30 women in the Mae Young Classic. You can't tell me you can't put a couple tag teams together from there. And there are a lot of women in NXT that would love to come up. They could do something there too. But the women's tag team division is definitely it's bare. It needs some help. It really does. To those of you that are viewing right now, we've had some people popping in and out of the room. We want to hear what you think, man. This show is for you guys. Feel free to leave comments, your opinions on the show, and we'd love to interact with you guys that are watching right now. But so we see Sasha with the surprise roll up on the Alexa Bliss. Following Alexa Bliss's Twisted Bliss onto Peyton Royce. Sasha with the 1, 2, 3, the cheap win, and Sasha Bailey retained the women's tag team championships. Moving on, pretty decent match that we had here. Justin, as we talked about yesterday, the build up between Jeff Hardy and Sheamus is kind of hokey in my opinion. Just some unrealistic. Let me ask you something. WWE logic. I'm thinking about this before. How is Sheamus not arrested? Is WWE thinking about stuff like this when they're trying to, book a show?
Well, apparently people don't like to press charges.
Yeah, no kidding.
How is Sheamus not in trouble? Unbelievable.
I think that whole storyline is just a waste.
Well, it's Bruce Pritchard and SmackDown. That's what they've been doing for the past 6 months. But we got Sheamus against Jeff Hardy. Very, very good back and forth. I think, Justin, yesterday we were talking about who would get hurt more with the loss, whether it be Jeff Hardy or Sheamus. Mm-hmm. I felt that Jeff Hardy, in my opinion, would get hurt a little bit more. Well, apparently he will.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure if WWE is fully behind him right now at the moment as far as the push goes. After we saw it tonight, Sheamus defeats Jeff Hardy. A very good match. A good pacing. Jeff Hardy is still moving very well for his age, considering the amount of miles he has had on him. Sheamus looks very good. Looks like he hasn't skipped a beat since 2010. But what did you guys think of this match?
I was gonna say, forgive me, I don't really watch SmackDown, but I thought Sheamus was retired due to a neck injury for a while. When did he come back?
He came back about 4 or 5 months ago.
Just for this storyline, essentially?
No, he's done a couple of matches, a couple enhancement matches in between.
All right.
I would say he came back maybe slightly after the Rumble. Didn't
Okay.
have a, or was it right after Mania? But
I don't think he had a Mania match.
Okay. So it was okay. So it hasn't been like immediately after Mania, like maybe by like a week. It was right around that time frame, though.
Yeah.
But then again, I'm thinking he may have came back just a couple of weeks before, but not in time to build for Mania. But yeah, you get my drift. He came back around. He came back definitely in the mid to late winter time, which would be around March. Yeah, I mean, right. He looks great. His hair looks the same as you guys saw tonight. He did away with that big fro hawk that he had, which was crazy. I don't know what he was thinking there.
You look stupid.
But
yeah,
they worked pretty well together.
Yeah, I think overall, Sheamus definitely looked like he didn't skip a beat. I mean, he looked a little bit smaller than usual, but that's to be expected. But he could still move in the ring. I don't watch SmackDown, so this is just me as an outsider looking in. I don't think this was a good program for him to come back to at all. I don't like the idea of using somebody's real life demons in the wrestling world. So for me, not watching the show regularly, it looks like a Jeff Hardy exit. It looks like he's, after this is done, he may have maybe a month or two left of just random matches, and I think he's going to join his brother over at AEW. I think WWE is kind of done with him and his antics. Especially to essentially make him look bad and really just kill his character using his real life demons and calling him a drunk and, bringing all of his, they showed his real life mug shots on the show tonight. Like, I don't know. For me, it doesn't work. I don't like it. So it looks like an exit for me. But the match itself, I thought was really good.
That would make for an interesting Talk is Jericho episode. Cooper, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. The match itself, it was good. I'll agree with that. But it just goes back to the whole SmackDown's writing recently. And Sheamus has been ready to go for a long time, actually. They just had nothing for him. But to throw him into this storyline, I would rather just sat out just a little bit longer to find something more fruitful in somebody else that's not going out the door, just to make myself look better or to try to put me over before they're out the door. It doesn't do much substance for me to put one guy over just because someone else is heading out of the company.
Right. I
think that's just doing Jeff dirty to begin with.
Jay, I think you're right. I mean, I don't know all the details of how much Jeff Hardy has on his contract, but I suspect he doesn't have very long, and that quite possibly it would make the most sense that he would join his brother from there. I hope that Jeff Hardy is not getting pushed into this storyline against his own will, because that would just make for a bad situation, and that's what happens with a lot of wrestlers, but especially, life stories make a storyline in wrestling feel organic. And when people use their real life characters or real life stories and portray that on TV, I think it's a lot easier to develop a story, develop an organic storyline. But in this scenario, Cooper, like you said, I hope that, this isn't really, that's something that Jeff Hardy didn't want. It just wouldn't make for, a good ending,
Well, if you look at it, if you look at the AJ and Undertaker feud for WrestleMania, they were calling each other Alan and Mark and talking about their wives, their kids and everything. But there wasn't demons like Jay was talking about to bring into there. So you got a little bit more buy-in on it on a personal level, but it wasn't anything that, you would look back in your life and like, wow, that's a screw up that's being thrown in my face. they didn't run into that. Nothing got thrown into their face and their nose rubbed in the crap like a dog and get reminded of what they did wrong. They kind of did the wrong thing here with Jeff and everything.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, as you said, Wayne, throwing in some of your life into the story, I absolutely agree with. I mean, you can even go back to the AJ Samoa Joe feud when Samoa Joe was bringing in Wendy and his kids. You know, it added realism to it, but it wasn't malicious, right? It added more to get you to watch. But as Cooper said, it wasn't reminding anybody of their mistakes, their demons, their wrongdoings. So I think, you know, this is where just that storyline alone, I feel like they just buried Jeff Hardy with that, you know, because how do you come back from that? You know, all he can say is, yes, I was a drunk. Yes, I was an addict. Like, who wants to keep going through that storyline?
And you know, this isn't the first time they've done something like this storyline wise with Jeff Hardy.
Yeah, I think TNA did the same thing with him when he was over in TNA.
WWE's kind of brought this up in the past before. Like, where Jeff Hardy's been in trouble so much, they brought up his arrest record before at some point. I can't remember exactly what
a couple of years ago. He even did a promo in a ring apologizing to the fans or something.
I don't really remember that, but I do remember WCW did the same thing with Razor Ramon when Razor Ramon had his drinking issues. You know, they did the same exact storyline. They pulled him in. He's a drunk. He's this. He's that. Didn't get them very far either. So, you know, this is just very, very reminiscent of bad storylines that just don't work, that keep getting rehashed over and over and over.
Well, if you look back, one that just jumped out of my mind in Edge and Ric Flair, when Ric Flair got in trouble and pulled over and everything and his drinking, you know, Edge was doing that video. He's wearing the wig and the robe and just wooing, driving down the road. And he like chops the freaking cop that pulls him over or something. I mean, yeah, that's kind of stuff that you don't need to drag into the storyline or anything like that.
Oh, and not to mention another example of real life storylines is speaking of Edge was the feud with Edge and Matt Hardy with Lita leaving Matt Hardy for Edge, and Vince McMahon's like, well, you know what? Let's put a storyline on TV.
Like, hey, remember when your girlfriend cheated on you?
Yeah, we're gonna use that. It's good shit. Yeah, it's good shit. Yeah.
Oh man. So we'll have to see what happens with Jeff Hardy there. In the next upcoming weeks. So moving on, we had the WWE Women's Championship from the Raw side. Asuka defending her belt against Nia Jax for the Women's Raw title, which ends in a double countout. I feel like we had a pretty good match. Seems to me that they're going to be continuing this feud going forward for at least another pay-per-view or two. What did you guys think of this?
Why are they protecting Nia? That's what I thought. I mean, on top of my 15-minute nap during this match, why are they protecting Nia? I don't think she's a good worker. I don't think she's a good talker. It's ridiculous. You know, Asuka should have won that in 3 minutes.
Justin and I went into a little detail yesterday that they're protecting Nia. One, they probably have a plan for her, which maybe would result in SummerSlam. I don't think next month. I don't think that Asuka loses it then, but maybe for SummerSlam. And then also, she's seemingly a great backstage person to have in the WWE locker room.
Yeah, but if she's hurting half your roster, like it's time to just cut your losses.
Yeah, and you know, also we also made note that of the strong lineage that she's a part of. She's part of the Rock's family, and you know, related to the Usos somehow, related to the Roman Reigns somehow. However the connection is, but her roots are, and Tamina being her cousin, you know, and Tamina being a daughter of Snuka. A lot of connections there. That Samoan bloodline runs deep for years.
Yeah. I mean, I understand that, but you know, there's a certain point where if she can't wrestle, she can't wrestle. I mean,
There's no doubt
Granted,
about it. She's got to be safe.
most of them. She's tied to the bloodline. Yeah, I mean, right. So Becky went over because Nia screwed up and blew her nose out. Right, but that just happened to be a thing. Otherwise, she would have blown out Becky's nose. She hurt Kairi Sane. She hurt Alexa. Like everybody she wrestles, she hurts. So, and if you look, give her the Tamina treatment. Right, I think Tamina's a much better wrestler. Let them swap roles.
Tamina can't promo her way out of a wet bag, though.
Yeah, but neither can Nia.
Dude, Tamina's the person that you need a mouthpiece for.
Yeah, I mean, and that's easy enough to do.
Easy fix. MVP.
Done.
Yeah.
Right, where Nia...
Paul Heyman's not going to be around for a little bit.
When Nia speaks, it's just like a whiny Long Island woman. I hate to say it that way. Long Island, I love you guys, but it's terrible. I can't listen to it.
Those are your people, Jay. You're allowed to say that.
That's true, but we need viewers. Sorry, guys.
No, kind of, the whole Samoan heritage thing. I mean, you look at the Usos. How many times have they been arrested and gotten in trouble? Roman's pissed hot. Nia's been hurting people. Umaga died because of his drug issues. I mean, but Rock is the golden child of the family, and what he's done for the company, it's almost like they get a free pass because of it, and that's why they haven't gotten rid of her.
Yeah, but the Usos bring money. Roman brings money. Nia does not bring money.
No.
I mean, maybe in the beer sales because that's where everybody goes. But
exactly.
And just so you know, there's another relative of the Rock training, the Rock's daughter's training. May I say, woof.
Not looking good.
No, not that. I don't know how she. No, I'm just saying she's not that pretty.
I thought you saw a video of her in-ring action.
I haven't seen her in-ring action yet. She's still green as can be. I think she's only been training for what? Not even a year. Who knows?
Yeah, but I mean, if she follows her father's footsteps and does it properly, she can pull that out.
Yeah, just look at Charlotte.
Yeah.
But back to the match itself. I know we kind of rabbit trailed there. I was kind of pissed off on the payoff on this being a double count out in the protection, because the time that they were in the ring, it actually was a halfway decent match. Like, I thought this was going to be the snooze fest here because of how crappy Nia is in the ring. But I mean, I wasn't say I was thoroughly entertained, but it kept my attention. I wanted to see how it was going to play out because there were a lot of false falls. And there were a couple times, especially, I think it was a massive power bomb that Asuka took. I thought she was done. Yeah. So it kind of drew or kept me engaged and had me reeled in.
Well, it goes to show you how good of a worker Asuka is. I mean, because she worked her tail off to make Nia look good.
Oh, yeah.
Because Nia can't do that by herself. I mean, we've seen her in other matches that, as you said, are just snooze fest. But,
Nia, with her size, she doesn't need to move around the ring that much. She doesn't need to, fly and run, 30 miles an hour from rope to rope. She's the big woman. She's supposed to be the movable object. Yeah. And it's Asuka's job to be the one running circles around her, trying to get her down in a compromising position and get the win.
Nia needs to look the way Nyla Rose does.
Should wrestle like Yokozuna.
Or even just as Nyla Rose on AEW, right? She's just a powerhouse, but she does it effectively.
Nyla Rose, she surprised me a little bit last week, but she did good. I'm not a fan of Nyla Rose by any means necessary, but I give her credit for last week though.
Neither am I. I'm not a big fan of Nyla either, but the way she wrestles is the way Nia needs to wrestle.
Yeah, I feel like Nia's got to drop a little weight, to get there.
That's a whole subject to speak on.
And then not to mention Nia Jax had that double knee surgery too.
Yeah, but if look, for me, it doesn't matter how big she wants to be, but she has to be able to put her size to work appropriately. If you want to be the powerhouse, be the powerhouse. I mean, look at Jordan Grace in Impact. She's another one, not as big, but she's a power wrestler, and she uses her size the way she should use her size.
Absolutely. So yeah, a pretty decent match, Cooper. Like you said, this was another match that kind of surprised me a little bit. Up until this point, there wasn't really too much of a snooze fest going on throughout the night, throughout the first three matches. But till we get to Miz and Morrison versus Braun Strowman, I was looking at my phone a lot. They themselves had a 10-hour 10-hour match would be forget it. Forget it. A 10-minute match though. But first, we get the music video. They debuted a video for Backlash, which I thought was okay. Braun Strowman gets the pin on Morrison. Miz and Morrison were kind of thrown into this feud because, Cooper, as we alluded to yesterday, there was really nobody to contend for Braun Strowman. And actually, in fact, there really is, but I believe they're kind of saving Baron Corbin to be Braun Strowman. And then The Fiend, too, him being out, having babies with JoJo right now. But moving on, the SmackDown and just the way everything's been booked lately, we're kind of left in a position while we have no challengers for Braun. So they had to go Miz and Morrison. Handicap match for the Universal title. What did you guys think of this?
Go ahead, Coop. I'll let you take it.
I mean, just another one of those poor writing matches. Not invested in it. It's just SmackDown's the state of SmackDown altogether. Corbin is just kind of sitting in the background right now. They don't want to use the Bray Wyatt too much, even besides the kids right now. Trying to do a long summer program with Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt, you're gonna run dry in that well. So you can't just throw everything out there. I mean, this almost felt like this whole feud between those three. It's like Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner almost. Just cheeky shenanigans, just sliming them and then, beating up cars and trying to be one step ahead, and Braun plowing through Morrison and almost sending him through the protective barrier of the audience. There's a lot of cheese and hoke in that. So this match, it was just kind of all right, when's this going to get done? Please make this less than 10 minutes. Just get it over with. Get it done. I know he's going to retain. Okay, here we go. On to the next one. Thank you.
Yeah, I think for me, it shows how much disrespect they have for Braun Strowman as a champion. For his size and for his power, he should not be in these type of storylines. It's ridiculous. I wasn't invested in this at all. Braun should not be chasing two, like you said, a Wile E. Coyote type stuff. It's just ridiculous. They should move him over to Raw, actually, where he can go against a Drew McIntyre and go against, bigger opponents. And I don't know how you fix it, because he is non-believable as a champion. Or bring Bobby Lashley over to have a feud with him. Then you have two big guys over there. But he should be a monster the way he was before he even won the title.
And it's kind of pissed me off because Braun has been screwed for a long time, because he was Brock Lesnar's punching boy for so long.
Yep.
And everybody's like, okay, this is his chance. This is his chance. And they never pulled the trigger on him because they wanted to protect Brock, and just absolutely destroyed Braun so many times. And then even now they're showing it with all these stupid matches.
Yep.
Roman's gone right now. And it's like, okay, well, let's just do this. Let's bide our time right now.
Yeah. I hate to say this, but SmackDown badly needs Roman Reigns back.
Yeah, who would have thought the big dog would be our savior?
Because they're the way they booked, they could have somehow booked Daniel Bryan into a main event scene and have AJ fighting for the Universal title instead of the IC title. Wouldn't that made more sense?
Exactly.
Yeah, but you also need AJ to help elevate that IC title, because it's been dead for so long.
Other than Corbin, and maybe the Fiend, there's really nobody believable to really take that belt off of Braun Strowman right now.
Yeah.
So it's just a little weird dynamic, on this as far as that Universal title goes, and this SmackDown, roster is just kind of suffering. Just a lot of it's because of the booking, not really necessarily because of people being absent. It's because of the booking.
Yeah, the booking's been terrible. I mean, you could just see like AJ was supposed to be on Raw, and they pulled him back over to SmackDown. Like they're doing everything they can to save that because. That's why AJ's carrying that IC belt, like I said, because it needs to be elevated because
Jay,
it's so far down.
Perfect timing, Jay. Let's talk about it. And I have that in my notes because right after the match, they had the AJ Styles versus Daniel Bryan highlights. So this match went 40 minutes on SmackDown. It was nonstop. It was a great match. And, oh, by the way, SmackDown ratings were up this past Friday. I wonder why. They gave two great wrestlers match time. It was nonstop, 40 minutes, which is a rarity on TV, getting a 30, 40-minute match these days.
Especially for a 2-hour show.
Great match. Great match. Yeah, they had that match started at 9:38 and it ended like around 10:15, almost 10:20. Did you get a chance to see that, or did you see the highlights on that?
I caught the highlights. I didn't get the chance to. I was going to go back and see the actual match.
I am shocked.
But like you said, like it goes to show that they're using AJ as a workhorse. He's their savior.
Yeah.
I mean, and he's been that way since he joined the company. He went, he did a 24-hour travel schedule to go meet a Finn Balor to go wrestle overseas for entertainment, and then. He's getting pulled into Raw to do programs over there to help save Raw when Raw was down. Now he's pulled over to SmackDown because SmackDown is terrible. And like you said, ratings are up every time he's on TV.
Well, let's talk about that. They were promoting the Intercontinental title finals. They were promoting that all week. So I wasn't home. I was in Brooklyn. So I had it on my DVR, and I was actually looking forward to seeing it. There was an incentive for me to watch SmackDown, and I knew that they were going to tear it up, but they tore it up for 40 minutes. And let me tell you, that was one of the best SmackDown matches I've seen in a long time on Friday night. Ever since Fox came on TV, hands down, that's the best match since they came to Fox.
Well, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, everybody knows I'm a huge AJ fan, but what feud or storyline or match, whatever you want to call it, has AJ been in that's been terrible? I can't think of really any, even going all the way back to TNA. Dixie Carter TNA, he still was killing it and bringing it.
I mean, I can think of one, but even then I was actually somewhat amused when AJ was feuding with Nakamura and the whole feud revolved around balls.
Yeah, but again, that wasn't his fault. That's
the whole storyline was, and the payoff was balls. AJ, hitting Nakamura with the low blow. Nakamura hitting AJ with the low blow. By the way, if you guys watch Backlash, which one was it?
2018.
I don't know. 2018 with Nakamura versus AJ. If you guys watch Backlash, go back and watch that, Jay, because as I've alluded, I was third row, and wait till you see the reaction on my face when that happened. Go back and watch it. I wish I could find it on my computer and screen share it right now, but I was in shock. And it just wasn't a good ending. Like, it was a great match, and it just ended horrible. So AJ's had great matches, but some of his feuds were kind of questionable. Not because it was AJ's fault or anything. It's just because of.
But even with that feud with Nakamura, as you said, it wasn't great. But with anybody else, it would have been terrible.
Yeah.
And that's really all I'm alluding to is, AJ's always been must-see TV. So they're that's why they keep just moving him around. So it wasn't surprising that AJ and Daniel Bryan brought the house down.
I mean, listen, you could also, and Justin, we talked about it yesterday, but they could also go as far as getting back to Braun Strowman. They could also do a David versus Goliath kind of thing. Obviously AJ would be the heel, so you'd have to work out that dynamic. But you could also have AJ drop that title around SummerSlam, and maybe have him feud around Survivor Series. Get that, because I think AJ, is a worthy title holder. He should be in a main event scene, not in the Continental picture. He will elevate that belt, though, Jay.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, you can even have Daniel Bryan fill in.
Because that Intercontinental
Vertical
title belt has been dead. It has been dead for months.
Yeah, that whole thing, that whole roundabout with Sami Zayn, I forgot Nakamura had the title for a long time. And I remember somebody asking, it's like, who, the Intercontinental Champion? And I had to think for him, and I'm like, who the hell has the title right now? I'm like, oh yeah, it's Nakamura because I don't care about SmackDown and it sucks.
I'm almost kind of embarrassed to sport that I have an IC belt right now, but
you got the old school. It's all good.
This is the beauty. But anyhow, yeah, the Braun Strowman, Nakamura, Sami Zayn had it for 2 months and nobody even knew he was champion because it wasn't on TV with the belt. Nakamura, it just wasn't really working out. Braun Strowman had it. Yeah, it's been dead for like the last 6 to 8 months. So I think AJ Styles will resurrect this thing for a little while, for at least the next 3-4 months before they move on.
Because the last time that title was even relevant was when The Miz had it. You know, the Miz.
I 100% agree.
The Miz made that thing as if it was the top title. That's how high he rose that up. And then just to watch it fall the way it did, it's a shame.
And just to remind everybody, The Miz has cut the greatest promo in WWE in the last 5 years.
Oh, I agree. I agree. Speaking of that, you know, they gotta get Miz and Morrison away from each other. I'm done with that. But so yeah, that was a great match. I was glad I watched it. But moving on, we had did I call this one or what? The WWE Championship match. Drew McIntyre versus Bobby Lashley. I texted you guys earlier in the chat. Drew McIntyre immediately attacks. Bobby Lashley immediately attacks Drew McIntyre right before the bell rings with that full Nelson. And here I am, like thinking, "Oh God, they're gonna use this as an angle to get the belt off." I'm like, "You got to be kidding me!" You know, with the rumors saying that Bobby Lashley may get a title run, in which he may very well, you know, within the next 2 months. I don't see it happen in Extreme Rules. I think maybe be a SummerSlam kind of thing if they do it. But we see Bobby jump Drew before the match starts off because of the distraction from MVP. But what did you guys think?
Yeah, I thought overall it was an okay match. You know, as I said before, Bobby doesn't do anything for me to care. Even with MVP, I can't buy in.
Well, you know, a lot of that has to do with the way they booked Bobby Lashley, mooning everybody on Raw, doing these crazy obstacle courses.
Yeah.
A hokey storyline with Lana and Rusev, you know, that him lifting up gigantic tires. Like nobody really wants to see that. And I totally agree with you. How could you buy in? How could you want? I could see why you wouldn't want to buy into it. But knowing Bobby Lashley's background, you know, if the smart wrestling fan knows, and just the way he looks, you know, he's a believable character that could probably kick anybody's butt in the WWE locker room, other than maybe Brock Lesnar or like a Braun Strowman or something like that. And the way they put them in the past couple weeks had me scratching my head like, oh, you know, maybe they do something here. I thought it was a little too soon. I thought maybe they're going to wait till Survivor Series or something, but no, he decided to do it for Backlash, and they've made him look strong a little bit, and it had me a little concerned. Great back and forth match that we had here. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I thought it was okay. I don't think Drew should have struggled with him as much as he did. Because granted, with his strength and his physique, and I know he's going to put up a bit of a fight, but I almost felt like, to me, Drew looked a little weak during this match.
Oh, he was knocked out in the beginning.
Yeah.
So it made a little sense that you know he was you know sluggish from the beginning, and you know he played it off because he was attacked in the beginning.
Right.
Cooper, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I had Twitter pulled up on this just to kind of see the Backlash hashtag whenever the match was going on, and especially whenever the botch happened at the beginning. And you know, obviously everybody's like, he's dead. You know, just, you know, things like that. And just, you know, just the kind of getting that feedback. Sloppy, just they tried to make up for it. And, the overall consensus was after they got the botches out of the way, it was an all right match. Again, Lana, I mean, yeah, she was a key factor in the match,
You
but
called that.
yeah, again, just.
And it kind of protects Bobby Lashley for maybe an
Yeah.
upcoming match in a month or two.
And what we've learned is Lana cannot act.
Yep.
Lana cannot wrestle. Lana cannot sell. Lana cannot do makeup. Lana just sucks at life, period. And needs to get out.
She did a terrible job with her hair.
That's okay. That's if you go to a barber shop and you've got patches in your beard and they kind of spray a beard in. That was her hairline tonight.
Yeah.
But yeah, she can't do anything right. So she just needs to go join Rusev and get out of the business. But she contributed to this one little piece of the storyline. The only thing that gets me is Lashley has had so many mouthpieces that you have to look at the epicenter of that. And why is he not able to work with all these people? Because I would have to mute the TV when Leo Rush would come on, because that constant screaming of Lashley was absolutely annoying. So I'd miss part of what was going on if anything was actually said. And, now he had Lana on his side. Now he's on MVP. What's going on here that the guy can't work with anybody? And do they have the confidence to pull the trigger and put the title on him for someone who can't work like that?
Well, I think mostly because he's a one-dimensional character.
Yeah. I mean,
we've tried to see him do comedy, and he obviously can't do that. All he can do is basically a bad impression of Brock Lesnar. You just sit there and just look mean. That's it.
That's about right.
So, I think if they want to give him a title run, they need to ship him over to the Blue brand, because that brand is so dead that it'll give him something to do with Braun.
Oh, absolutely. Right.
No,
I think that's a really good idea. I didn't even think about that, if they're willing to do that.
Right. That's where they can rediscover what he needs to do to work with people, and that's how you're going to get him his title run. It's not going to happen on the Red brand. It's not. You can't have him beat Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre is too over right now, and he's too good of a champion to drop it to Lashley. They'll have maybe an 8-week run, and it'll be over, because he won't be a long reigning champion by any means.
Listen, as far as Bobby Lashley goes, they need to kind of play to his strength, and his strength is, we know that he's a military guy. So I would play off that character as somebody very serious with the mean look on his face, kind of like, I believe, what he was doing in TNA. And it was actually kind of getting over to me personally. And when I found out he was coming to WWE, I was excited until they started doing all this goofy stuff with him, and then I lost all interest. Right. But you got to kind of play to his strength a little bit. He's got to be booked as a serious, kind of like almost angry, and just do what he can do. We know he's an MMA guy, and there's things that you can do with Lashley, and I think they were kind of starting to head to that direction. We have to kind of see. I like the idea of him going to SmackDown to just because they're suffering. Outside of the Fiend and Baron Corbin, they really have nobody contending right now that's worthy to go against. It would be very believable for someone like Lashley to beat Braun Strowman. So, I mean, Jay, that's a good point that you brought up. But do they do it?
Who knows?
We'll have to see.
What do you think about making Titus his mouthpiece? I think he could work with Titus, and being that the two bigger guys, it might actually work as a decent pairing.
I'm not entirely sure.
I mean, we're not going with the worldwide. I'm just saying, have him be essentially what MVP is doing now. That. But
I think MVP has been a great mouthpiece so far.
Yeah, but it's still not working. That's what I'm saying. Maybe it needs. I don't know. I don't know what he needs.
It needs more legs. It's still like kind of new. So I think it just needs a little bit more time, to be honest. Yeah. I think MVP is one hell of a mouthpiece.
For sure. But it just seems to me that it's still not working for whatever reason.
The writing was on the wall with Lana. She might be 1 foot in, 1 foot out at this point, which I believe. So we're going to see how that progresses tomorrow night for sure. So we were supposed to get a title match between the Viking Raiders and the Street Profits. But surprise, surprise, we got a cinematic brawl that took place on the outside of Performance Center. They're brawling in a lot, and so we see them. They're brawling, leading to the breaking of Braun Strowman's windshield once again. That happened on SmackDown about 2 weeks ago during the Miz feud, the Morrison feud. They took golf clubs and breaking Braun Strowman's window. Well, this happened again tonight during that brawl. Braun just can't catch a break here. But yeah, we get a cinematic brawl throughout the PC Center. I was kind of amused by it. There were a couple different spots that I liked. What was your favorite moments in this match?
Not much.
Okay.
I mean, a ninja motorcycle gang. This turned into the Anchorman brawl, for the love of God. That's the only thing I thought of. And I just kind of sat there. Like, I had no reaction to it. I was just like,
a small percentage of me was hoping like, oh, this would be great if it was a new faction.
The only thing missing out of this whole terrible scene was when they showed Akira Tozawa next to the big ninja. All I was thinking is, that's got to be Shaq. That's Shaq Fu, because they're playing this whole thing.
Dude.
It was terrible.
It could have been him.
It looked like him being to the side. So I was like, he's going to take that mask off. It's going to be Shaq. And of course it would be, because that's how bad this segment is. It's ridiculous. They were able to bury the Street Profits, the Viking Raiders, and Akira Tozawa in one 5-minute cinematic segment. It was horrendous.
You gotta admit that you had to have been laughing a couple of times.
I was not.
How about the bowling ball spot?
I couldn't believe I was sitting there watching this.
Or Dawkins throwing Ivar into the through the glass door.
All right, so that was cool, but then he went off thinking about fried chicken. What is going on? Why?
How about the alligator, the garbage?
That
at the very end, the way it ended, like it just ended so subtly, like you thought like there was like a monster in there.
Yeah,
and then it showed an alligator's tail.
And the worst part about it is that you have this 70-year-old billionaire in the back laughing his, what off. He's like, this is good. This is such good. It's terrible. He's burying his own company.
I am really interested to hear what other wrestling podcasts and what Twitter has to say about this. Listen, Jay, I agree. I was like, this is bad. This is bad. I was amused. I'm not gonna lie, but it did not do anything for either tag team as far as seriously getting behind either one of them. They're doing all this hokey stuff every single week to build up to a tag title match, which will happen eventually, probably Extreme Rules. I think that's what's going to happen. What do you think, Cooper?
Well, something that I saw that I didn't even think about. I saw the graphic about how they were tied 3-3 in all of these games. And it just took me back a few years of the Sheamus and Cesaro best of 7 series. And it's like, don't tell me they're recycling something else again. Why? Cut the BS and just do something.
Well, they stole that idea from Benoit versus Booker T back in the WCW days.
Yeah, but I mean, still, it's again rehash of a rehash, and you're trying to strike gold with it. You're burying 2 pretty good tag teams just because you don't like them for some reason.
I don't even know. I feel like Raw only has 2 tag teams now. Where are the other tag teams?
I mean, you're trying to do makeshift ones like Rollins and Buddy, or Austin Theory and Buddy, and then
that's fine.
Yeah, I don't mind that because they're a type of faction. So that I don't mind so much.
Yeah, and then you're trying to do Andrade and Garza now, where that's kind of just
that's fine if they can get along.
Yeah, but I mean, it's stable. We don't have that many tag teams left right now. It's gone straight to crap.
It's horrible. To say SmackDown tag division is stronger, which it is. They got more tag teams. that's not a good sign for the Raw Tag Division whatsoever.
I mean, just look at where Viking Raiders were coming from ROH, right? What were they, War Machine, and they were killing it.
Yeah,
and now they're doing this hokey stuff that it's probably the exact reason why the Revival left, because it was supposed to be their spot.
Yeah.
So they were like, all right, let's make probably one of the toughest, most badass tag teams and make them dream of fried chicken and put them in a sports contest with the Street Pro. Like, what are you doing?
Let's also not forget that one of the Viking Raiders' wives was fired in the huge set of releases when the pandemic started. So
I believe she's coming back
too.
I think she's furloughed for now. I think she's coming back. Yeah. Because they made mention to her once or twice a week or two after her not being there. So I think she's coming back. I think she's furloughed for now.
Okay. But I mean, still, it's
till we hear otherwise.
Yeah, but I mean, they were even War Machine still in NXT, and that's when they were still wrecking people left and right.
Yep.
And then the Viking Experience.
Yeah.
When Vince was like, I don't like that name, and then everybody came back and said, no, that name sucks. So it's like, all right, let's meet in the middle here. All right, the Viking Raiders.
Yeah,
I like it.
I mean, they came from where you would hear their horn in their entrance.
Yes.
And the place would blow.
Yeah.
Right. Everybody would pop. It's amazing. You just feel the energy.
That darkness and everything. And then they're sitting up there in the strobe light or the red light. Yeah.
Yeah.
To now they're
everybody was chanting war and everything and throwing up the horns. Oh God. Yeah.
Yeah. It was amazing. To where they are now. It's such a shame. Such a shame.
So how about the greatest wrestling match ever? Edge versus Randy Orton. And Jay, I don't know if that's a serious yawn or a sarcastic yawn. I know it's 11:12 Eastern time. It's been a long weekend. But let me tell you, I was pleasantly surprised. And I told Cooper from the inside, Dave Meltzer said that they had a very good match together. I didn't think it was going to be this good.
Yeah, it was a good match.
This was a very good match. This was a great match.
It was a good match. Don't get me wrong.
I can't go as far as saying greatest match ever, but like this is a match that I'm going to remember for quite some time.
The greatest COVID-19 era match.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I'll go with that. So I was listening to, I don't know if you guys listened to.
It's probably one of the best matches I've seen in a few years. I'm not going to lie.
I think it's called Behind the Bell, After the Bell podcast with Corey Grave. And this week he had Randy Orton on, and they spoke about the greatest match ever. And Randy even said himself, he's like, look, it'll be a good match. It'll be a damn good match. He's like, but to put that moniker on us of the greatest wrestling match ever, he's like, I don't know how we're going to deliver. So even to him, it's an unreachable goal, right? So it was still a good match, but to try and make it the greatest match ever, I could think of several that are a lot better than this was. Again, no fault to the competitors. I thought they did a great job with what they had, but to dub it the greatest match ever, I mean, you're talking about he has to compete with Randy Savage Steamboat, Bret Hart versus Mr. Perfect on any of them programs. They were amazing. Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels. Come on, how are you going to put that pressure for Edge, who this is his second match since coming back in about 10 years, and you're going to try and throw him into that kind of scenario? Again, it was a good match. Don't get me wrong, but to try and live up to that moniker of greatest match ever, it came to me as a disappointment. I thought it was.
We knew that WWE was doing a bad thing by dubbing this the greatest match ever. We knew better. I had very low expectations for this match, and it far exceeded my expectations. My expectations were low based on what we saw from WrestleMania, that long, unnecessary, the way they did that. You know what? They could have had this match at WrestleMania, and I would have been happy. Yes. Like they went almost 50 minutes. It was nonstop.
Yeah, I would have swapped the two. Put the last man standing now, and then have this greatest match ever at WrestleMania. I think A, would have boosted WrestleMania, and B, I would have cared about it more because it didn't have that moniker of the greatest match ever.
And you know what? I'll have to go back and watch that Bret Hart. I'm thinking that Bret Hart, Mr. Perfect match. I'm assuming you're probably talking about SummerSlam '91.
Yes, they had two programs similar.
That was good, but I don't know. Bret Hart versus Mr. Perfect doesn't really stand out a whole lot as like one of Bret Hart's best matches. I mean, I could think of quite a few more programs Bret Hart was in that was better, like Bulldog, Michaels. No, I won't say Stone Cold.
Yeah, but I'm going off just the technical side of it, right? Because we know Mr. Perfect was also a technical wrestler, so to have that style match, that's where it's I'm kind of going off of.
Well, yeah, but I mean, even yesterday when we were doing the pre-show, we rattled off almost a dozen different matches than what you just said. Because I mean, that's such a moniker that it's hard to nail it down. But when you have two superstars of Edge's and Randy Orton's caliber that might crack the top 50 greatest superstars ever, it's hard to make your greatest wrestling match ever with two people that might be in the top 50.
Right. And to try and have them live up to that moniker without any real buildup. I mean, because you can even go back to WrestleMania 3 of Hogan and Andre. The match itself wasn't great.
No.
But the buildup and the anticipation, and there's just to see all anybody really cares about is to see Hogan slam Andre, and that became probably one of the top 10 greatest matches of all time, just because of everything that encompassed it.
What did you guys think of the cinematic effects to it? I think it helped out a little bit.
The only thing I liked about it was having Howard Fink.
That was cool.
Yeah,
and then
I thought
MSG
that
thing
was
that
great.
came down.
Yeah, I thought that was great.
I like having Mini Nate in the long sleeves and the bow tie.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
Listen, I thought this match was great. This is easily that's in the top 5 of Randy Orton's best matches, and easily in the top 5 of Edge's best matches. I'd have to say.
Yeah, and just to be clear, I'm not trying to take anything away from the match itself. Right, the match was a very good match. It's just WWE succeeded in ruining that for everybody, trying to make it the greatest match ever.
Oh, and I agree. They should have not dubbed it that way. But what excites me the most is how these guys performed and went out there for 50 minutes working their butts off. I loved it.
But you know what ruined this match? Orton winning, because Edge wins at WrestleMania. Orton wins here, and I told you yesterday, the greatest wrestling match of all time. They're following it up with a freaking rubber match.
Yeah,
you know, they're gonna have to. They're gonna have it.
That.
Yeah,
they have to do that because they're one apiece.
Yeah, but I mean, you called this the greatest wrestling match of all time. That's like when you look back at Rock Cena, you had the once in a lifetime match when they knew damn good and well from the Rumble the year before that they wanted to have 2 Rock and Cena matches, a regular singles match, and then a championship match. They had that planned 15 months in advance, but yet they still dubbed it as once in a lifetime for that first match. And that's what kind of pisses me off about WWE is that they pigeonhole themselves.
Yeah.
And as soon as Cena won the Rumble, I'm like, my first thought was, well, I guess it really isn't once in a lifetime.
Well, listen, I got some breaking news for you guys. We're not going to see Edge for quite a while. So I've been looking on Twitter and a little bit, and I think the news I don't think has fully broken yet, but it appears that Edge has a tricep injury and could be out for up to 6 months, which means we will not see him until Royal Rumble season.
Ouch.
So yeah, I'm still like looking online to see. I think we'll have better clarification and confirmation of that by tomorrow sometime. I guess doing a Raw broadcast.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it's a work.
He could be out for a while, and I noticed that like a little bit like he was kind of favoring his tricep, but very very so subtly. But yeah, that no, it wasn't broke by news. Wasn't broke by WWE. It was broke by an inside reporter that's linked to WWE, a journalist, Sean Ross Sapp or somebody.
Yeah, okay.
Broke that news. So, I got my ears out on that. But yeah, this is that seems to be breaking news that Edge could be out for up to 6 months.
I see it here. Bleacher Report is reporting that as well. So yep, that's going to be a huge hit.
Yeah, listen. If you want to keep Edge a little special right now, I wouldn't, even if he was healthy, I would have probably just let him take a break for now and, let him come back around SummerSlam and just kind of wrestle on a part-time basis. He doesn't need to be full-time by any means. And that prevents the overexposure too. We don't want to get sick of him too fast, but unfortunately, this is what it's looking like, and we won't see him for a while. But listen, Edge went out. He went out very well tonight.
What'd you guys think of the piped-in audience for this match, and even some of the other ones? I've noticed it.
It was a nice little effect. I barely even noticed too much. I knew it was there, but I wasn't paying much attention on it. But that. Yeah. Hey, listen, if you watch every single Raw from 93 on, 94, 95, that many, many times piped in audience where the crowd's barely even moving. And meanwhile, you hear the crowd's going wild.
Yeah, but at least there was a crowd. So you can kind of play it off. There was 15 people in the arena, and you heard "This is awesome" as if it was, at, I don't even know, a football field or something. It was that loud. It's like, so, it's just another thing that just irritates me.
I know. Yeah. I like it better than a dead silence, but no, I totally get it, because it's just WWE likes to make you feel stupid sometimes. They think we're stupid. We're smarter than that.
And it's amazing because they have all these
and everything they had me fooled in the 90s too. I never knew it were piped in fans until years later.
Yeah, I mean, and WCW did that too. So I mean, it's kind of expected for that. But at this point, WWE is such a monster in this game. They have everything available at their fingertips, and they don't know how to use it. You go over and you look at AEW has a quarter of their budget, and right now they're hitting every mark. They can't do no wrong right now. So what is the difference there? Like, why are they doing so well, and WWE with all of this money and production value just can't seem to get the simple things right? I don't get it.
I don't get it either.
I'm trying.
AEW is not trying to make us feel stupid, though. That's right. A big difference.
And I've been watching WWE since I was, a little child, so I'm sticking with my brand. Don't get me wrong, but they need to look at what the competition is doing and really take them as serious competition to help elevate their product.
Oh, absolutely. On every level, entertainment and in-ring performing.
Yeah.
One last question before we wrap this up. I'm at 20% on my laptop. So I'm going to pose this one last question. Based on the results tonight, Cooper, I'll start with you. Where do we go from here?
Well, considering this is going to be the first Raw after Paul's release, I honestly have no clue right now. Paul was very big on a lot of up and developing talent. Vince doesn't like developing people. He feels like it takes too long. That's why ratings tank. And he still feels to this day that without Brock Lesnar on television, that's why Raw's ratings are tanking. So I'm scared to see what Bruce is going to write up for tomorrow. Who's going to be the next challenger for the WWE title? Who's going to go after Apollo in the U.S. title next? If it's going to be Andrade again. I don't know the direction that Raw is going to go. SmackDown's still going to follow the same god-awful formula. AJ is going to have his first contender for the Intercontinental title.
Friday night.
Yep. Hopefully we'll have someone worthwhile challenge for the Universal Championship. And still our tag division is in complete and utter disarray right now. So hopefully all these riders where it's streamlined can bring their heads together and not up each other's keisters, and they can have something uniform. and have something solid going forward for the future, because we're about to get back to live crowds here soon. We're on the road to SummerSlam now. We're 2 months away. We've got one more stop. They need to have a plan, and that starts tomorrow night. And if that show sucks, then SummerSlam is going to have a rough road ahead of it.
JD.
Yeah.
Where do we go from here, man?
I think we're going to go back to, I don't know. It's going to go back to when Vince came out and said he wants to listen to the fans and deliver the product that we want and do the complete opposite. I think we're going to go right back to that. It's almost to the point where it would not surprise me if we brought Vince Russo back. Yeah, I think that's
a hot take.
I think that's the state that we're in. You know, because you can't have, like, they go through low-level riders. I think their life expectancy is 3 weeks. So they're constantly moving riders because nobody can take how their creative works. And so with them being a loss of a head rider, man, if they brought back Bruce Pritchard, you know Jim Cornette's not coming back. They just got rid of Paul Heyman. All you got left is Vince Russo.
Or you could bring back Freddie Prinze Jr.
Oh, God.
Well, I mean, listen, we don't know how long Apollo Crews got with his U.S. title.
It's not going to be long.
I hope they give him a couple months. I'd like to see him hold it through for the summer.
No.
You know, we already discussed women's tag titles. We know Sasha and Bayley. You know, sooner or later, we know it's coming. There's going to be a split in the feud between these guys. You know, we know Jeff Hardy is going to be on the way out the door, probably. We think that's happening. Who knows what they do with Sheamus next? You know, we got to believe that Asuka's going to have another couple months with this women's title. So, it's interesting to see what kind of train wreck, you know, if they fix it with Braun Strowman. I mean, he came out to new music, kind of a little modification, and the whole Strowman Express and what have you. I can get behind that, but I need a better opponent for him.
So that being said, you think where he's had championship, he's been in the main event picture before, you think that this Jeff Hardy thing could be a springboard for Sheamus to get back to it and have fresh blood in there?
I think that's very possible, and that, you know, that reminds me, somebody may have mentioned that I was listening to another podcast. Sheamus could be very well a formidable opponent. Why not? Let's do it. I would like to see a hard hitting match between those guys.
Yeah, I'm with you there, but is Jeff Hardy a big enough springboard for that? I don't think so.
I think, or with Braun,
not with that storyline.
Former world champion
with Braun as the face, right, or as a face right now, Sheamus could easily play up getting the low life out of here. You know, if they've gone this far down the Jeff Hardy rabbit hole, Sheamus could easily play up, getting the trash out of here, getting the low lives out of here, and actually have a champion that's worthwhile on SmackDown Live.
Yeah, but I don't know if, you know, because you look at it from the other aspect. It's like, what did you do to get here to earn your title opportunity? Oh, I beat up a drunk. Like, it doesn't really springboard you that high.
Yeah, but I mean, what did Bobby Lashley do to jump up to the WWE title picture, though?
He won a couple matches. You got MVP as a mouthpiece. Yeah. It's listen, with the whole Bobby Lashley thing, it's believable, but everything just kind of happened so soon, which is why I get that. Which is why I totally understand why Jay's not fully behind Bobby Lashley, and I'm not really either. But yeah, everything just kind of happened too soon, and there was really no really great build. They kind of just thrusted him right in there.
Yeah, but the thing with Bobby Lashley, why I'm okay with him getting his title opportunity so quickly was that them bringing in MVP and basically that one promo that he said, you know, I've been away for 11 years. You're in the same spot from when I left. And then he teams up with MVP and it makes me believe it. It's like, yes, he's been stagnant for 11 years. Now MVP is going to get him on his title run or his title opportunity path, which he did. So for me, that's why that's pretty believable. Sheamus just beating up a drunk Jeff Hardy doesn't have the same impact or effect.
Jeff Hardy was never drunk, though. Sheamus was making everybody believe Jeff Hardy was drunk and did drunk driving, but Jeff Hardy was totally innocent.
Right, but what I'm saying is just built on that storyline. It doesn't hold enough of a footing to be able to springboard Sheamus that high.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a great storyline at all, but we definitely don't want to forget that Jeff Hardy is a former world champion. That's the only reason why I can be like, okay, you know, Jeff, you listen. I need to see a little bit more out of Sheamus. So, Cooper, it's a good thing you brought it up. I mean, you have time to build to that. You know, you can have, you know, Sheamus be a challenger at the next pay-per-view or SummerSlam. You got a little time if they want to go that route.
Yeah,
so we don't know how long Bray Wyatt's going to be out.
True. And if you think about Sheamus and his world title history, his very first WWE title, he won it in a tables match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely.
Extreme rules. I mean, just throw that out there.
And by the way, that would be the 10-year anniversary. It happened in 2010.
Yeah.
So again, I'm not. Don't take it the wrong way. I have nothing against Sheamus going for that title or being that high. It's just a matter of how he gets there is where I have the issue with.
And
again, not taking anything away from
Jeff Hardy. Wins. Just give him more wins. Easy fix.
But they have to be formidable wins.
It would kind of come out. It would kind of come out a little bit out of left field. But that's how WWE is notoriously started their feuds anyway.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, Jay, easy fix. Keep them on TV. Keep them winning for another few weeks, and then start a program for SummerSlam after Extreme Rules.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
You know, you got time. There's no need to rush it. I mean, I totally forgot that we had, we could put Sheamus right there in that mix, and that kind of adds a little bit for the short term booking, that is. But in my opinion, I think WWE, Raw and SmackDown, not NXT, but Raw and SmackDown need to do away with the brand split. Do away with, maybe you can keep the US IC, but do one tag team champion, one major champion, and let's go. Let's build this brand the right way. There's no need to have brand split or Raw versus SmackDown anymore. We have AEW now. There's NXT. There's no need to build. It is hurting them to keep the brand split going. It is really hurting them right now with the lack of tag teams. But if you put it all together on Monday and Friday, it won't be so bad. You have depth now. You have depth in the women's division. You have depth in the tag division. Get rid of the women's tag titles if you're not going to add more women's tag teams. But that's really all I got to say as far as where I think we should go from there. NXT is doing just fine. They can really do no wrong. Well, guys, we're going to close it out. We got another show tomorrow. Tomorrow will be the third day in a row. We'll be able to focus more on Raw. Anyway, guys, JD, Cooper, thank you so much for hopping on tonight.
Yeah, buddy.
We've covered a lot. With this post show. Definitely a lot. We're getting close to SummerSlam season. Pretty soon that banner behind me is going to change to the SummerSlam banner. I can't wait. 4 more weeks we'll be on the road. Yep, it is the old school one.
Nice.
I think so, at least. I think it has the original WF logo. I'd have to look and see what I bought. But anyhow, it is the original SummerSlam logo, though. I'm just not too sure if it has the F in it. I should double check that. Anyhow, thank you guys so much for hopping on. And let's do this again tomorrow. Hopefully we have a good Monday Night Raw, something to talk about. Hopefully it's not a train wreck like every Friday night has been for the most part.
Yeah.
And let's do this. We'll be starting week 8 officially tomorrow. There'll be 2 months in the books, and I'm excited.
Let's do it.
In the meantime, guys, fans that are watching, have a good night.